If you are losing marks in PTE writing, there is one question type silently destroying your score, and most students don't even realize it. That's Summarize Written Text. This single question type can literally decide whether you get superior score in PTE writing. And the worst part, one small mistake and you will get a direct zero. Today, I will show you exactly how to master it. If you are preparing for PTE and struggling to reach your target score, this video can change everything for you. On this channel, we break down PTE strategies in the simplest and most practical way so that you can improve faster and score higher. We also offer 2-week intensive courses, 1 month and 2-month programs, and one-to-one coaching to help you achieve your desired score step by step. Good day everyone, this is Rashid and welcome back to Ace Language. I'm a Pearson certified professional PTE trainer and I have been teaching PTE since 2015, helping thousands of students achieve their desired score or secure a spot for their dream courses and getting 20 PR points. If you are targeting a proficient or a superior score, this video is extremely important for you. Let's start with some basics. Summarize written text is the first question type of your PTE writing module. You will get a passage of around 300 words, and your job is simple, but not an easy one. That is, you must summarize the entire text in one single sentence within 5 to 75 words, and you will get 2 questions in your test. Now, let's talk about why this is so important. This is not just a writing question, it is an integrated skills question, which means your score goes to both writing and reading. It contributes significantly to your writing by 27.7% and heavily impact your reading score by 22.5%. And it can contribute up to 7% of your overall score. So if you ignore this, your score becomes unstable. Each summary carries 9 marks. Content gives you 4 marks. Form gives you 1 mark. Grammar gives you 2 marks. And vocabulary gives you 2 marks. Now, here is the most dangerous part. Form is the gatekeeper. If you write more than one sentence or exceed 75 words or write below 5 words, you get a direct zero. No partial scoring, a zero. Now, let's talk about how to get a full score in content. To get 4 out of 4, ideally, you must capture all the main ideas. Use your own words, keep it clear and connected, and avoid any extra or irrelevant information. Your sentence should feel like a compressed version of the entire passage. Grammar in this task is very specific. You are joining multiple ideas into one single sentence. So you must use connectors, clauses, and proper structure. Also remember, spelling is part of grammar in this particular question type. And vocabulary is about using very simple but accurate synonyms, not complicated words, just clear and accurate synonyms. Now, let me show you the most important part. There are 4 simple steps to write a perfect summary. Step 1 is that you find all the main ideas. This is a no-brainer. But this is where most students fail. You must look for topic sentences, independent ideas, and any new information. Also, pay attention to discourse markers like however, moreover, therefore, and especially verbs like shows, explains, suggests, argues, and compares, because these usually introduce new ideas. Strategy is very simple. You find the first topic sentence, which you can usually find in the first sentence of the passage. Once you do, you read along, move forward, and you compare each sentence that you read with the first sentence. If the sentence provides any new information, you will need to add that sentence to your answer. If the sentence is just about additional supporting information related to the previous one, just ignore it. Don't add it to your answer. Remember, you are writing a summary. Your job is not to write the whole passage and explain. That's the job of an essay. Your job is to write only the main ideas, not the supporting ideas, not the examples, right? Step 2 is rewrite all the main ideas. In this stage, a lot of students try to paraphrase everything and overcomplicate it. Don't do that. Try to rewrite as they are. Do not change anything at this stage. What happens is most of the students try to rewrite here in their own words and then mess up, change the meaning, or simply they sometimes just create a completely new information. Don't do that. Number 3 is you join them. How do we join them? I will show that to you in this video as a live demonstration. Don't worry about it at the moment, but remember, it needs to be simple joiner. And step number 4 is obviously once you joined, if you have written over 75 words, edit it, reduce it below 75, and make sure that you have no spelling mistake. So step 4 is editing, that you take it below 75 if you have written more than that, and obviously you will simply check your spelling because your spellings are very important, right? Now, I will share my screen. At first, I will show you how I join. So the joining part will come first. Then in the next screen sharing, I will also show you how you can answer questions, real exam questions, and I will demonstrate how I do it and explain why I did certain things in certain ways so that it can help you prepare for your summarized written text. So before we actually jump in solving a couple of summarized written texts, we will learn how to join them. Quite often, students overcomplicate joinings. It need not to be overcomplicated. It's as simple as it gets in PTE Summarized Written Text. Let me show it to you. How easy can it be? Right, so I will draw your attention to my screen now so that you can understand that how to join them. Now, one of the most powerful way of joining multiple sentences is the use of WH word. So WH words can be which, or it can be who, where, depending on the situation. You can use whatever you would like. Let's take which as an example. So we use WH words when we have multiple sentences with the same subject, so that we can replace the second subject with WH word. For example, if I say coffee is one of the most popular drinks in the world, right? That's a very simple statement. So let's just say this is my sentence. And the next sentence I'm saying it has medicinal value. Now that's another simple sentence. Obviously, you can use and to join them. However, you can also use WH words. In this case, as coffee is the subject and it is referring to coffee, I can simply replace this it with which, and I can use comma here, and that's it, done. So I'm done with my joining. So one way of joining is WH word. Another way of joining, again, let's keep it very simple. We can always use these three: and, but, so. I don't want to overextend or overcomplicate things, so just you understand how to use these three things. Always remember, if the sentence 2 is the result of sentence 1, what we use so, right? If sentence 1 opposes sentence 2, we use but. In all other cases, we use and. Very simple. This is only for PTE Summarize Written Text. And remember, before these WH words or all these and, but, so, please use comma before. Now, this is not a universal rule and it's not gonna really hold up in a real English lesson, but for PTE Summarize Written Text, this is perfect for you to remember. Now, quite a lot of students ask me, hey, can I really use the same joiners again and again? Look, you can, but it is not recommended, especially overuse of and is not really recommended. So instead of and, what you can do is, I'm gonna just remove that and put it back here so that you guys can remember later on. Okay. Now, instead of and, you can definitely use moreover, furthermore. Instead of but, you can definitely use however, nevertheless. Instead of so, you can definitely use therefore, thus. I believe that's more than enough. Obviously, there are so many other ways to join. These are more than enough. Just so you remember, if you are going to use them as your joiner, right, for PTE test, what you should do, use a semicolon before and comma after. That means, my bad about my, excuse my spelling. So what will happen is semicolon, moreover, comma. That's gonna be your way of doing things or joining things for summarized written text in PTE academic test. Nothing too complicated. So I think you now found how easy it is to join multiple sentences together to make one single meaningful sentence. Now, you keep on using it, it will make your life much easier, because at the end of the day, the more you try to complicate, the more difficult it will be for you to implement that in your exam. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my screen again. At this time, I will be solving two questions. One question will be a single paragraph passage, another one will be multi-paragraph passage. To solve these, I'm going to use Pearson's questions from Pearson's official question bank, not from any portal, because I found most of the time questions from most of the portals are overcomplicated. Rightfully so, that's okay, that's a problem for another day, but I'm going to use Pearson's official questions. Now, let's practically solve two of the real exam PTE questions from Pearson's question bank. Right, now let's take a look at question number 1. This will be a single paragraph summary. You need to understand that in your PTE test, there will be two types of summaries. One is single paragraph summary, another one is multi-paragraph summary. Right, let's take a look at this one. Let me make it a bit bigger. Right, so first things first, remember, more than 90% of the time, your first sentence will be your main idea, first main idea. So I'm gonna do this in this particular question. I'm gonna write down the first sentence, and I'll tell you why and how am I going to progress with that in this video, right? So it has been known for some time that working in a complex environment now, First sentence is done. Now let's read it properly. It says, it has been known for some time that working in a complex environment can sharpen certain mental abilities. So that's my first sentence. What's my job moving forward? Excuse me. Moving forward, my job is I'm going to compare every single sentence with this one. If I find a new information, a new data point, I will add that in my answer. If that's not the case, if it is somehow reflecting back to this particular sentence, I'm not going to take it. Now, when you are going to do that, you have to be very careful so that you don't spend too much time in it. Don't waste your time. And I'm going to show you how I save my time while try to read as much as possible. Right? One of the most well-known examples is that of London taxi drivers, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to read the whole sentence because, see, the word example tells me that this particular sentence will be an example of the previous sentence. So it is unlikely to get any new information from this sentence. So I'm going to kind of ignore it. I'm not going to not read it at all. I'm going to quickly skim it so that I have an idea of what it is about, so that I can compare it to the next sentence. However, I don't really need to read it in deep, right? So, memorizing an area, brain involved navigation and spatial memory. Okay, so I can understand this sentence is about the example that London taxi drivers have been used in this example. Certain which factors are generally important in the development of. So it says a recent study. That means something new. That something we already knew and something new has come up, right? A recent study. So I will just type it. So when I actually do it, what I do here is rather than typing it in the same sentence, I type it in the next line, right? A more recent study. Right, done. Let's move forward. Subjects were asked to complete a task embedded in a computer game, which involved memorizing a map and then steering a boat using the mental picture. So basically, again, I'm just telling subjects. Look at the first sentence here. First word here is subjects, right? When I see subjects, it goes back to that research, because in research you have subjects, right? So this tells me that I don't really need to pay too much attention to this particular question. A number of factors are significant. Again, a number of factors, that means most likely it's going back to that research. But one of the most interesting outcome, again, part of that research, lived in rural environment and town dwelling counterparts. Again, I can see that there are two different factors: those people who live in village or rural environment and those people who live in town, right, or the urban areas. So country dwellers showed significantly better. Country dwellers, that means I'm again reflecting to that particular research, better navigational skills, presumably because town, okay. And then moreover, it appears that the type of city can also make a difference. Obviously, something different type of city. So it looks like a bit different, right? We talked about dwelling, but we did not talk about this. So we can, if we want, we can add it, but we can also ignore it because it's part of that research, right? Subject from city with a more organic, less predictable topography and blah, blah, blah. I can understand that it's part of that research, such as Chicago. They may be useful maxim for urban planners here, that there can be such a thing um, as too much simplicity when it comes to a city design. It's the final sentence, so quite naturally I will take it as part of my answer. So there may be a useful maxim for urban planners here, that there can be such a thing as too much simplicity when it comes to city design. Right, now I've gotten on my new idea, all my main ideas. So the first thing I did, I took the first sentence, I compared with the other sentences whenever I found indication that, hey, this may be the continuation or the support of the previous sentence. I just ignored it. Words that help me, like, examples, subjects, research, and this and that. Right, so I'm done. Kind of all of the main ideas are here. Now I need to join them, right? So we learned just moments ago how we join them. If we take a look at that first sentence, it says, it has been well known for some time that working in a complex environment can sharpen certain mental abilities. A more recent study has attempted to ascertain which factors are generally blah, blah, blah. So we can see that quite often the subject, quite clearly that subject are not the same in both of the sentences. So we can't use which or WH words. I'm going to use a simple and here. And a more recent study in this, and obviously there may be, see, there is a spelling error. Obviously you should keep some time, and I can see that this is what we are saying is, from this research we can see that there are some other there are some outcome for the urban planners. So I can see that it's kind of like, resulting. So I can easily use therefore, or I can use so as well, but let's stick to therefore. There may be a useful dash. Done. So that's, my joining is also done. After I'm done with my main ideas, I'm done with my joinings. What should I do now? If you want, this is optional. If you want, change a few words here and there so that it looks like your work as well. However, that's not very important. So I can easily see there is study. I can change it to research, an easy one. Research that has been well known for some time that working in a complex environment can sharpen certain mental abilities, and has attempted. So I can say tried to ascertain which factors are generally important. I can say crucial or significant. Therefore, there may be useful, or we can easily say helpful. Done. So I'm done with few of the word changes, that is vocabulary usage. Only one more thing for me to do here is that I will now try and check the spelling. I'm very poor with that. So let's say, it has been known for some time that working in a complex environment can sharpen certain mental abilities, and a more recent research has tried to ascertain which factors are generally crucial in the development of navigational skills. Therefore, there may be a helpful maxim for urban planners here, that there can be such a thing as too much simplicity when it comes to the city design. Looks okay to me. Oh, I forgot to put a full stop, and that's it, done. So there you go. It's within 66 words, within 10 minutes, as you can see. It's quite easily doable. So let's just finish and submit it and move to the next question, where we will see how to approach a multi-paragraph summary. So let's submit. It doesn't give you any score in Pearson's practice portal. It just let you submit. Oh, it gave me a score of 100%. So that says that I might have done a good job here. So let's try question number 3. That is ignoring question 2 because that's also one paragraph summary. So what I will do now is I'm going to try question 3. And I'm going to stick to my policy here again. I'm going to write down the first sentence of the passage, of the whole passage, so that I have a starting point or a reference point to compare my data with, right? So let's say the water we use is not as clean as we might think. Okay, so that's a statement. The water we use is not as clean as we might think. All right, high levels of micro pollution have been found in some of our water sources. Okay, I can see how it is referring back to it. Reducing the safety and quality of our drinking water. The type of pollution found combine different pollutants and has a variety of long-standing effects on the water. Again, it's just giving further description of the pollution. The purity of the water may also be negatively affected by unexpected pollution events such as natural disasters, giving me more information about the pollution. Furthermore, that's an indication. A discourse marker is an indication that new information may be coming. There are also often problems concerning the distribution of drinking water. So it's not only about pollution at the source, it's about something new now. So we are going to use it, and I'm going to keep the joiner as is. It makes my life a bit easier. There are also often problems concerning the distribution of drinking water from water sources to places where water is consumed. I'm ignoring such as our homes because that's an example and I want to ignore example. You are only looking for main ideas, remember, no examples are needed. Right, for these reasons, water often needs to be purified before it can be consumed. Understood, this may happen at the source. So we are now telling that, hey, in order to use water, it needs to be purified, right? Before it is consumed. So it's something new. I'm just saying that, okay, first of all, we can't just drink water because it's not clean. And then we are saying it can become dirty even on the way, right? So I'm just trying to write. I'm gonna write this one as well. Water often needs to be purified. Sorry, I know I can copy and paste in here. In real exam, you cannot. So I'm just ignoring copying and pasting thing. Water often needs to be purified before it can be consumed. So based on my understanding of any English passage, I understand now it will tell me how to purify or why to purify. This may happen at source. So it's now telling me how to purify. We can purify it at the source or nearer to consumption. In some countries, it has been difficult to integrate technology to help the overall process due to financial and logistical challenges. It's just telling me that there can be challenges in different countries. Traditional waterworks and companies need cheaper, smart technology and more automated processes without the need for human control. Brand new waterworks must be a cutting edge design to allow blah blah blah. I don't see anything new here. Last sentence again, another indication. Furthermore, to enable water to remain clean while it is being distributed, the delivery of water needs to be constantly monitored. So I'm gonna take it again. I'm gonna use the same joiner as they have used. Furthermore, to enable water to remain clean while it is being distributed, the delivery of water needs to be constantly monitored. Done with all of them, right? So let's just join them first. As I'm going to join, I can see that it already has a joiner, so I'm just using a semicolon before furthermore. And I can pretty easily understand the fact that, see, water is not as clean. It can be polluted during distribution. Hence, I can see the next sentence is definitely a resulting sentence. So I can use so or therefore or hence or thus, whatever you feel like. I prefer using therefore in this particular case. Therefore, water needs to be purified before it can be consumed. Again, I can use furthermore because obviously I'm saying that, hey, not only that do we need to purify, we also need to make sure that it remains clean, right? So as I already used furthermore here before with the previous sentence, I'm just gonna ignore furthermore and use moreover in this particular case, right? Then I'm done with the joinings as well. And now I will see whether I can change a few words here and there. See my spelling mistake in the very first sentence. The water we use is not clean, as clean as we might think. So I can, as we are talking about most of the drinking water in this case, so I can say drinkable. as we might think. Furthermore, there are often problems concerning the distribution. So I can say, instead of concerning, often issues. I can say, instead of problems, I can say issues concerning the distribution of drinking water from our water sources to places where water is consumed. Therefore, water often needs to be purified before it can be consumed. A lot of students will be tempted to use cleaned instead of purified, but remember, they're not the same thing. So be very careful. Just because something is a synonym doesn't mean that it can be used. To enable water to remain clean while it is being distributed, in this case, you can definitely use supplied if you want to. I'll just keep it as is. The delivery of water needs to be constantly monitored. I don't feel the need to change anything else. And obviously, when I was joining, I also read it quite well to understand most of my spellings are correct. I'm very concerned about my personal spelling. You should be as well, because those small mistakes can change your score. Now I'm done. Let me just simply finish it and submit it. Not sure how it will go. As you can see, I had 3 more minutes to do and it gave me 100%, and that's it. So you can easily understand how easy it is to summarize a written text. You don't need to overcomplicate it, you don't need to overthink it, and you can see it's very easy for you to complete within 10 minutes. So I'm going to quickly recap. What you're going to do is write the first sentence of the passage on your answer sheet or on your answer box, and then read each sentence and compare it back to the first sentence. Some of the easiest ways to avoid reading everything will be simply, if you have words like examples, and words like indicates and this and that, those which one actually shows you that the connection with the previous sentence is there directly without reading the full sentence. Just ignore reading it with your full attention and quickly skim it so that you can save some time. Once you get all the main ideas in this way, simply join them using which or and, but, so, or other discourse markers like we discussed earlier in the video, and eventually check your spelling, and change a couple of words or few words if you can. Be careful about your vocabularies that you are using. Just because something is a synonym doesn't, do not just use it blindly. Understand whether it fits to the context or not. And that's it. If you can do that, you are safe with your PTE Summarize Written Text. So I believe the demonstration was quite easy and quite straightforward. If you follow these strategies that we learned today, you will not be stuck with your Summarize Written Text ever again. So remember this, Summarize Written Text is not only about writing, but also about reading, understanding, and compressing information. If you master this, your reading and writing scores will become very stable immediately. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Ace Language. In Bangladesh, we offer 2-week intensive courses, 1 month and 2-month preparation programs, and one-on-one coaching. In Australia, we offer one-on-one customizable course suitable for your needs. We are here to help. In Bangladesh, you can contact us at 018899829112, and our Australian contact number is 0456 446 963, or you can simply email us at info@acepte.com.au. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.